let's get into the introduction of technology then, and in terms of, you have some new employees that have come in, and then you have some employees who've been there for 30-something years, and so sometimes there's obviously kind of some disjointedness about, I've been doing this way for so long, I don't want to, why are we changing, I don't get it. Mm-hmm. So talk to us a little bit about how you're introducing technology to all of your employees, but certainly the ones who've been around and been successful for an extended period of time so that they grasp it and want to continue working with it. Barry.
Yeah, talking about introducing technology, sometimes they'll bring it to us. So, you kind of want to create an environment of being receptive to fresh, new, crazy ideas. What we like to call a cowboy that's out there, and you got to be kind of receptive to that guy and listen to him. So a lot of times they're bringing technology to us. But a lot of times that's not the case. But every company is different in how that you approach technology solutions. And believe it or not, as a CIO, I don't really approach anything as a technology solution. I'll just be completely honest. When I go in and I begin to meet, and either with a customer or within our own company, it's really, you've got to understand the problem and what's going on. And once you understand, in a lot of cases, it is a technology solution that's going to fall in place. Sometimes it may not be. Sometimes at the end of the day, you got to change your process. There's nothing related to technology, but most of the time you do. There's something related to technology in there. So, but what we do at Mayer is we approach every issue that we tackle with a team approach. So we're getting people involved from across our company at different age levels, at different degrees of knowledge within that process that's going on with that particular job area. And we'll build a team out of 5 to 7 or 8 people, depending on the project. So those people begin to buy into what's going on, the process, and as we lead them, my job is really to lead them through the process to make their jobs more efficient. And always through that process, usually 90+% of the time, technology plays a role into that. And then when it does, you have to involve that same group of people, because you may have a guy, and even for us, we may pull someone off of the receiving department in one of our branches to serve on the team. But he's a part of that team, and he's doing that job every day. And so you have to listen to him. He brings value to that team. And if maybe you're replacing a part of what he does manually with a barcode scanner, thinking about technology. And then as he can begin to see, if that's how that works, and this makes me more efficient, makes my job easier, and then he gets the buy-in. So all of a sudden, your team has got to buy in on the technology. Once the team buys in on the technology and they help you select the right technology, then you got to go through and you got to do some testing and other things that go on. And then when you start that implementation process, that same team is going to be a part of that implementation process as you help roll it out. And listen, when they go back out to their job, when they got done with that meeting, they're going to be talking. And hopefully it's a positive talk of, hey, this is what we're going to do, and this is how much better it's going to be. And they begin to sell it for you. So that's really how I approach it, is really working as a team and getting those team members on board and them selling the technology, not so much me selling the technology.
Tell me about this team. I mean, who is it? Who's on the team? Are they, the movers and shakers within your company? Are they the most respected? Are they the most liked? Are they the guys who can get the point across and get the other sales guys working with them? How do you pick a team, and how do you make sure that they're getting the point across that everybody needs to be on board?
Right. So how do you pick a team? That can be kind of tough. I don't know everyone in the organization and how well they really do their job. I may have an idea on some people. But in our particular case, I may work with a regional vice president, and I'm saying I need a couple of folks from your region to participate. And this is, this project's around maybe some warehouse automation piece, and or maybe the website, for example. And since we are, you may want to hear more about a website and how we approached it. But we went and said we really need 2 people that you would consider, that you know better than I know, that are very technology savvy maybe, or who use a website more than normal. They're using our ERP system to its fullest extent. They're using our analytics to its fullest extent. Those are the kind of people that we're looking for. And they come back and say, well, this is the person based on customers they're working with and things they're running into that I would suggest that would serve on that team. And that's kind of how we build that team. And they may go back, that regional VP may go back to his certain branch manager, and then from there, the branch manager could say, well, I really suggest that we use this person on this team. And we end up with those usually 6 to 8 people, and it's really not someone I'm going out. It's not the person that's been there the longest. I really, to be honest with you, I want a very diverse team. I certainly appreciate and want the wisdom of those who have done it for a long time, because they hold a tremendous amount of wisdom. And you want them to be a part of the change. But at the same time, you need that person that's very young, that has a completely different perspective on it to be a part of the team. So, you gotta mix it all together. And I could go on and tell all kind of stories, and I'll talk too much, and so I'll stop. But sometimes the other thing that I would say as a CIO is that sometimes the change is so radical and so different, they can't grasp it. And that's the hard part. You've got to figure out, they can't, and that's not speaking bad of them, but they can't grasp about what we're about to do. And sometimes we have to do certain steps within IT to put it together, so when we bring that team together and we talk about it, we can then show them. This is what we're talking, touch it, feel it. And then all of a sudden they're like, wow, okay, I get that. We've done a little work, and sometimes they may look at it and say, well, you missed the boat. Okay, that's work we shouldn't have done. That seldom happens. But usually we take that initial product that we kind of developed to get them to see it, to feel it, touch it, and they build it into something much larger than we ever dreamed it to be.
And Matt, what about you in terms of introducing the technology to
When I talk about this, I use the word champion a lot, but that's a good point. Sometimes the champion isn't one person, it's a team of champions. But the real key behind that is make it somebody's responsibility, or else it'll just fade into the background because other responsibilities will take over if you don't tell them that's your responsibility. And again, to your point, I always say never turn down a natural interested champion. If somebody comes to you with an idea, that means they're interested in it, they're passionate about it. Don't turn them down as one of the people that's going to be working on it. But it is important to get the team that has the power to get the job done. You can't, if somebody comes up and they don't have the capabilities, even though they're very interested in it, you have to give them someone else on the team that has the capabilities. And it's important to have top-level management backing on top technology implementation. But for us, I think the best example to use when you're talking about integrating a new technology and how you have to give the idea to the people and get them involved is if you use internal social network. If you're going to launch a new internal social network, everybody's involved. Everybody's going to use it. Everybody's supposed to use it. So that team of champions that you come up with, they have to go to every department, every person, and kind of express the benefits in a different way that relates to them. So you're going to have the shared calendars, document sharing, information sharing. There's project management tools. There's tracking, goal tracking, different things. We use SharePoint at our company, so there's tons and tons of capabilities. You can use Yammer. There's a bunch out there, but you really have to go to each one and express the benefits to them and how it's going to affect them and make it specific to them, or else it's just going to go over their head, and then in a couple months, whenever they're forced to use it, they're going to be grumbling under their breath. And that's another part. You have to get to them. Be the first to send the message so that you can get the message out there the way you want it to. If you just kind of tell one person over here you're working on this and one person over there they're working on this, they're going to go tell 5 more people, but without the message that you want to get out there. So then some grumbling might be going around that has a negative taste in their mouth before you have even told them what's going on. So it's important that the first message you get out there is the message that you want to get out there. Don't be vague in the beginning. You have to really tell them what the plan is and how it's going to affect them from the start, or else they're going to. It brings fear in people if they're confused and worried about what's in the future if they don't know. So you can run into a lot of situations. Some people are going to push back, some aren't. There's a lot of different approaches you can take depending on your skill set and your management set. And sometimes it's just about being kind to them, giving them the time, training them the way they need it trained. Just make them feel comfortable the best you can. That's really the best solution. Sometimes they'll still push back, and really you have to put your foot down. Or you could say, they're going to retire in 3 years and they're doing a great job how they are. Let's let them run it out. They can keep doing it the way they're doing it. So a lot of gray area there, no right or wrong answer, but it's about being specific, expressing the goals, making everybody as comfortable as possible.
So the people who can take something home with them, I want to know what in the past year and a half, what's the one technology innovation that you guys implemented that you said, we should have had this 5 years earlier and we can't live without it? What's the one thing that folks should bring home with them and say, we need to look into this because this really helps how we run our company? Matt, you go first.
For us, it's a company called Focus, their software, PHOCAS. And really, it's a data analysis tool. It integrates with our ERP, and it just puts an immense amount of power at your fingertips. Mobile, you can have it on your cell phone. I have it on my iPad or at the computer. So at any point, if I want to see any numbers based off of our inventory or sales, I could narrow it down by product, by manufacturer, by salesperson, by branch, by customer, whatever you want. And you can just start narrowing down. Click this, I want this manufacturer, this customer, this date range, boom, done. It's all there. I have the reporting I need. Oh, I want to see it in a bar graph, done. And so really it makes you a bajillion times smarter on the spot. So I can't think of the last time I was in a meeting where I didn't have it up on my iPad, and we kind of take it for granted at this point. If I wanted that sales history maybe 2 years ago, I would have had to request it from somebody. They would have got put on a to-do list, and eventually they would have emailed it to me in Excel. Now I can look at it when I'm in bed if I want to. So that's by far the most powerful thing I think we've implemented recently, and many of us use it on an hourly basis.
So how does that information get put in? Is it barcoded? How do you get that so quickly?
It's directly integrated with our ERP, so it's pulling all the information right off of there, right into their system. So every night at midnight, it updates itself with yesterday's sales history, yesterday's inventory, and then those numbers are all stored on a server, and we can just kind of pull it up and manipulate it to we want on any screen that we want.
Barry, what about you guys?
Yeah, I thought a little bit about this, and obviously, if I go back and look the last year, but the last 2 years, really think about our website. To me, the product offering that we have with the website is very exciting. Has really changed, I think, our business. Are we getting a ton of web sales? Absolutely not. But it certainly has had a huge impact for us. But the other thing that even outweighs that just a little bit, as I sat here today, that's really exciting to me, and looking at it overall, and it's going to be a longer project, and it's Office 365. I mean, we have just upgraded our entire organization to Office 365. We will be complete actually at the end of February. But it's more than thinking about Office Word documents and Excel. It's a lot more than that. It brings a lot more to the table. Really, when you begin to think about collaborating with your associates, and Matt mentioned SharePoint. SharePoint's a part of that. And if you're like us, you may have an intranet today that's kind of okay. You may have a great one. Ours is really bad. But really changing the way that we communicate and within our own company, but also how that we begin to communicate with our customers. Because one of the things that we're beginning to hear from our customers, as you know, a lot of times they got drawings and other things, large documents that they can't email. Either their email server will not handle it, or yours will not. So you've got that email issue going on. But if you begin to think about using OneDrive and how OneDrive really works, and how that you can share files and make that accessible to your customers or to your associates, You can say, well, sure, I could use Dropbox or something like that, but do you think about what's really going on? Just give you, maybe I don't want to scare you, but think about it for a minute. You know, if you allow your sales associates to create a Dropbox account, or any of your associates, Dropbox, they're taking files from your system and putting them in probably something that they either own or they maintain. You have zero control over that. I mean, zero control. And in today's world, we'll say, well, I got to have that, you know. Well, you know, one of the things that we're in the process of doing is we will move all of our associates to the OneDrive out of Office 365. That will become the sharing repository for associates and a customer. But guess what? We're not going to allow them to do on our devices that we provide them. We're not going to allow them to go create Dropbox accounts and Box accounts and these others and go store documents. Now, can they copy them off onto a thumb drive? And yes, they can, but we're not going to make it easy for them. But so Office 365 to me is really exciting in the way, as we become more mobile as companies. Think about your sales associates today and maybe how they go through their selling process and how they're taking their notes and how they're communicating and how they're doing things. Even for me, when I was traveling, I'm moving a lot of my files. We won't get into a whole cloud and inside the four walls discussion, even though I can certainly talk about that. I won't do that. But for me, I'm moving so much to the OneDrive because whether I'm on a plane. And today you're on a plane, you know, you all connect, they got Wi-Fi. You're working on the same document as I was sitting in my office yesterday morning, and I closed my computer down. I ran out to go to the airport, and I got to the airport, I booted back up. I got on the Wi-Fi at the airport. I had the same document that was stored up in OneDrive. I got on the plane, I had the same document as when I got here to the hotel. If this device happened to got cracked, you know, I've dropped it and broke it, I could run down to Best Buy and buy another one and log in, and boom, I've got everything again. Like the commercial, it really works that way. So, and then you look within Office 365 and look at the power of BI that they're doing for the analytics perspective that's a part of Excel that comes as a part of that solution. It's very exciting what they're getting ready to do and what they are doing as a company as Microsoft. He mentioned Yammer, certainly, and the way that we collaborate and communicate with each other. So for me, I think right now, as I sit here today, I'm really excited about Office 365 and how that, as we really become a mobile workforce for our customers and our associates, that is pretty exciting things we're going to be able to do.